Welcome, pet lovers, to another episode of the Paws Effect Podcast, where we delve into the heartwarming world of pets and the incredible bonds that they share with their human companions. I'm your host, Dr. Carra, a passionate veterinarian dedicated to bringing you insightful conversations that educate, inform, and inspire. Today's episode is extra special as we're joined by a dynamic duo, Pam Diamond and her therapy dog, Frankie. Together, they're on a mission to make a positive impact on the lives of those in need. They're here from Angel Paws, an NPO currently operating in KZN and established in 2021. But before we dive into their incredible journey, let's explore a crucial topic that often sparks curiosity: the distinctions between emotional support dogs, service dogs, and therapy dogs. Get ready for an enlightening conversation that will deepen your understanding of these valuable roles in the world of assistance animals. Welcome, Pam. So lovely to have you and Frankie here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Carra. It's really lovely to be here, and we're super excited to talk all things therapy dog with you today.
There's so much to learn, there's so much to share. Let's set the landscape, because let's start with my first question, which is, please can you give us the differences between emotional support dogs, therapy dogs, and service dogs?
Amazing, cool. Yeah, that is something that we often get asked about, and it's a great question to open with. So service dogs are examples. The most commonly known examples are SA guide dogs, or the guide dogs. And they are very well-trained, highly trained dogs. They work for one person, for their person, and they help them in with whatever they need help with. So obviously with the guide dogs, the people that they work for are have problems with sight. Other examples are medical alert dogs. Other examples are often people with hearing disabilities have a dog to help them hear the doorbell or the telephone or whatever. But so those dogs are really highly trained, and they work for one individual person.
And a very specific skill set.
Correct,
okay.
Yes, a very specific skill set. Emotional support dogs, on the other hand, are more similar to therapy dogs, but they again work for their person. And how they are seen as emotional support dogs is they are usually signed off by their person's health professional. So their health professional will say this person really needs to have their dog with them all the time in order to cope with life or to go about their normal life. Whereas our therapy dogs get to interact with many different people, many different types of people, children, people that are ill, etc. So they have to love everybody.
It's actually badly named because they're doing a service, aren't they? You would feel that if they were named before, that they would be service dogs.
Yes.
Because they really are doing a service to a greater community, aren't they?
They are indeed. So yes, so they get to interact with many, many different people. They must like all kinds of people, whereas the other two just really need to like their person and be bonded with their person. So that's really, in a nutshell, the difference between the three different dogs with jobs. And yeah, that's what therapy dogs are about.
Very, very interesting. So tell us about you. Tell us about your background. And Frankie, how did Frankie become a therapy dog?
So I've always been really, really interested in this concept of therapy dogs, and having Frankie with me, we really bonded, and I knew he had so much love to give, and so I wanted to see how I could use that, him and me doing what we love to do, which is help people. So we volunteered for some therapy dog units in South Africa for a while. And then as the universe would have it, we got in touch with a lady called Angie Thornton, who's been very instrumental in getting therapy dogs involved in South Africa. And she moved down to KZN Midlands and wanted to start a unit down here. So the two of us, long story short, decided to get together, put KZ in the therapy dog map, and start our very own NPO, which we called Angel Paws, and took it from there. So we're pretty new. We're just over 2 years old.
And how many started off? I mean, you started off, obviously, was it just the two of you, or were there a few people already on the book?
So a couple of handlers from the other units joined us. Okay. So we started off in KZN with 7 of us. Most of us, including Frankie and myself, we're still in training. Okay. And we're now up to, I think it's nearly 40 teams.
So it's really grown in quite a short period of time.
It has, yeah.
And is that because ultimately people are just seeing the benefit of it?
I think so, yes. I think they are, and I think people see what a lovely thing it is to do with your dog. So, yeah, very little. We've done very little marketing as such in order to recruit. Most of the handlers and teams that we have contacted us and asked how they can get involved. And so we take them through, we put them through the program, we evaluate, check for dog temperament, that make sure that they're going to love this work, because that's really, really important. And
how many fail at that point? Can't imagine too many.
Not many, no. And we don't like anybody to fail. We don't like saying failing, but not being successful
not
at
being
the
successful.
evaluation.
I know, I've got to change, especially now being a parent, I have to actually change my narrative.
So if they're unsuccessful, we've partnered with some amazing professional animal behaviorists in KZN who are amazing, and trainers too. So a lot of them, we refer them, and then a lot of them specifically help those teams get to the point where they're going to pass an evaluation with flying colours.
So is it like a calling? Is it, when you recognize,
so.
Does it perhaps start as like, this dog is like an emotional support dog?
Yes.
Because I know your story started a little bit like that, the benefits that you found in Frankie, you wanted to share with the greater world. So are you happy to share how you got to this point?
Absolutely, yes. So that's so true. And we often do have people who have emotional support dogs that want to join us and work more within the realm of how canines can heal. So, and they make fantastic teams, as you can imagine. So yes.
But what are the typical qualities that Frankie has that makes him just put his head on my lap? I know, I'm sorry, it's a bit hard. What are some of the qualities in these dogs?
Okay, so at the evaluation is the very first step, and honestly, we test to make sure the dog's going to be comfortable in environments. So, and with different noises, with different type of people. If we have children around, we ask them to join in the evaluation so we can judge whether the dog's going to be comfortable enough to be able to start their journey. And then after that, so it's temperament mostly, so we're looking for any kind of fear, aggression. I don't believe dogs are aggressive but sometimes they'll respond in a fearful way if they're worried about something. So we look for that. We look for their responses to, say, a loud noise or a heavy metal tray being dropped. Their response to being touched, because that's really important. That's their job, is to be touched. So do they enjoy it? That's ideal. Obviously, that dogs actively seek touch. And then what else is really, really important is the relationship between the human part of the team and the dog. So is the human able to read their dog? What action will they take if their dog's feeling uncomfortable in a situation? How do they communicate? Are they kind? Those kind of things are really, really important in terms of a successful evaluation. So
a lot of the training is also about you managing situations.
Absolutely.
And being able to read your dog and having that connection.
Correct.
In order to ensure that there's safety for all concerned.
100%.
So saying that, let's get right into what is it that you actually do, because you find yourself in so many different varied situations.
Yes.
From some that we perhaps can all relate to or we've heard about, to some really fascinating, challenging situations at times.
Absolutely, yes. So, yeah,
So how do you break it up in terms?
We've broken it up at Angel Paws into essentially 4 programs. Animal-assisted activity, which is where we say we can make someone's day. So that's really just all about petting, leaving the dog to do their thing with the person that we're visiting, and whatever happens, but we don't really know because we're the leash holders, happens between the person we're visiting and the dog. And then the second is animal-assisted therapy, where we can really get into the nuts of bolts in literally changing someone's lives sometimes. But we work there in conjunction with a professional. So it may be a physio, it may be psychologists, psychiatrists, maybe teachers. So that's a really, really interesting part, and where you can really see the impact that you're having, witness that. And then animal-assisted education, where we educate children primarily. We get invited often into schools, where we educate the children about dog handling, about dog welfare, a little bit of what to do if you encounter a scary dog, so how to be a tree. And then the children get to interact with the dogs afterwards, because obviously we know that they're stable and that they're happy with children interacting with them. And then our 4th one is a program that we've called Paws to Read. And that's about reading programs with children, where we work again just with one child over a period of time, and we help alongside the teacher with a reading program for that child, and get them up. Often it's children that are starting to read or children that are battling to read, and get them up to a standard that the teacher's looking for. So yeah, that's a lovely program to be involved in. And the premise around that is that there's no pressure. Dogs don't judge. The dogs are not going to tell you that you said the word wrong. And we can use, in all 3 programs, we use the dogs to help facilitate a lot of what goals that are trying to be reached.
So speak through the dog often.
Correct. Yes. So with the Paws to Read, there may be a difficult word in the passage, and we'll say to the child, Frankie doesn't understand that word. Can you explain it to him, or shall we look it up in the dictionary and then you can explain to him what it means? So they're really amazing in terms of being able to facilitate those type of things.
Things that would otherwise be quite tough or taken personally.
Correct, exactly.
And obviously they're just so patient.
Yes,
They slow everything down. I mean, nobody wants to rush a beautiful dog like this
exactly
off their lap. So that's incredible. And you've seen results. I mean, the results are there in terms of the improvement in reading ability. As we take a short break from our conversation with Pam from Angel Paws, let's take a moment to focus on an integral aspect of your dog's overall well-being. Today, I'm thrilled to share a product review of my podcast sponsors, UltraPet, specifically their special diet, joint health dog food. This specialized dog food is a game changer, especially for dogs dealing with joint stiffness or arthritis. The ingredients are carefully selected to address specific needs. For joint maintenance, glucosamine, chondroitin, and green lip mussel extract are key components in supporting joint health and mobility. For muscular support, a high-quality protein blend is incorporated to assist in maintaining lean muscle mass, along with fatty acids for sustained energy. For digestive health, the formula includes high-quality cereals and fiber, promoting a healthy digestive system. For a healthy immune system, vitamins and minerals, including A and E, are added to support the immune system. For a healthy skin and coat, omega-6 and 3 fatty acids contribute to maintaining a shiny coat and a healthy skin. Prebiotics. The addition of prebiotics creates an environment for microflora to flourish. Scientifically formulated by veterinarians and animal nutritionists, This complete and balanced diet is specifically designed for adult dogs with joint support needs. With a protein content of 24%, fat at 11%, and fiber at 3%, it caters to the unique needs of dogs in their adult life stage, or those susceptible to joint disease. The flavor profile: chicken and rice, ensuring palatable dining experiences for every meal. For dogs facing joint issues, UltraPet's special diet joint health food is a reliable choice. It is designed to improve mobility with a focus on building strong bones and supporting healthy joint cartilage. The high-quality protein blend aids in maintaining lean muscle and healthy weight, minimizing stress on those joints. It's available in pack sizes of 3 kgs and 12. This formula is a testament to UltraPet's commitment to providing tailored nutrition for your furry family members. Now, let's get back to our conversation with Pam from Angel Paws. So I want to ask you a little bit more, because I think for me, I'm interested in all that you do, but what I love about what you do is you educate. And so you teach about good care, what people need to do, which I think we're seeing improvements of in South Africa in particular. But it's so critical to not be fearful of dogs, that how to approach a dog, the requirements to look after a dog, the feeding. And I mean, that is, it's invaluable. It's, there's no course at school that teaches that. And if you don't have a dog at home, how do you learn? Or perhaps you're learning
Often, yes.
bad ideas. So I just love the fact that you're doing in schools.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we often will get invited to the Model T schools or other schools with the dogs. And then we have a little presentation where we teach the children about dogs, we tell them about dogs, we answer any questions they have, and then teach them bite prevention. So what to do if you counter a dog that you think might be scared of. And lots of children in South Africa are scared of dogs, and then they give the dogs all the wrong signals because they'll run away or they'll scream or something like that. So we teach them to be a tree, what to do, call an adult, and then a little bit of dog welfare and how to look after your dog if you have a dog at home. Make sure they have water.
And children are busy. I mean, their movements a lot faster. And those are typically for dogs that aren't maybe not familiar with people. Those, to teach the right approach. And I mean, to have a positive experience with a dog like Frankie is, to have that association rather than, I was bitten by a dog, because that's what you hear. People who are fearful as adults often go, I had this experience as a child, I was bitten by a dog, rather than my first engagement with a dog was with this beautiful, they talk about the stories about how people fall in love with pets. They'll talk about some particular dog and I'll know the name. And that's the story you'll hear. They're like, and I wanted a dog like the first one I met, or the dog that, I came across. So, I mean, this is really... I think.
And often with adults too, in the facilities we visit, the staff are often very afraid of dogs. So we've done, and I think that's also something that's evolving in terms of what the work we're doing, that's been quite beneficial to general public, is teaching people that dogs are sentient, beautiful creatures, and you don't necessarily have to be afraid of them. And this is how you approach them. We often have people eventually that are very scared of dogs that by the end of the visit, touching the dogs or patting them. So it is really interesting in how we're all learning along the way, but how it's evolving and where we're seeing we really are the most beneficial, and how the dogs can really help in the most beneficial way.
Some of the images that you share, and obviously you are on social media, you do show your work, you're very transparent about the offering, and I never hear anything but positive responses to anybody who's used a therapy dog. It's always been so impactful.
Amazing.
But you see images of people obviously in care homes or dying, and I mean there are many very heartwarming stories out there about the impact that animals have in those final moments, easing, the release of good hormones and pain relief and comfort during some very, very difficult times. So not only when, young and learning, but, those final moments where you just need some love and support and care. So tell us more about that, have you?
So we have had, there was where we as the leash holders and the taxi drivers, we don't know much, and it's not our place to know much about the people we visit. We leave it up to the dogs to do their work. But we have, in fact, been in someone's room in one of the hospitals that we visited. We were just taken in by one of the nurses, and we didn't understand what was going on, but we did learn very soon after that interaction that that person, in fact, did pass away. He was with his daughters. And interestingly enough, we heard via the grapevine that they had mentioned to a number of people that the dogs had actually been with him in his final moment. I might start crying, sorry.
Okay.
Which is, that
so
is
comfort for the family.
Absolutely.
So it was just the support that Frankie provided, not only for the person who was passing away, but for the extended family.
Yes, we were with, I suppose, Frankie's colleague, Gabriel, who's a golden retriever. So Gabriel was with the patient. Frankie and I were at the door with the nurse. But yeah, absolutely. So they had, there's a story of where the dogs, unbeknown to us, had made a huge impact. Another care home that we did visit often, one of the residents there was during the time he was passing and had asked for the dogs. Unfortunately, it wasn't the day that we visited, but it was one of his wishes if the dogs could be there. So, so I think that tells a story of what the dogs bring, although we can't fully understand it as mere mortals, but what they do bring.
I think, pet owners of cats, owners of dogs, maybe people who love cats really love their cats, and I'm not one of them. We know the benefit that our animals bring.
Exactly.
And when you find yourself in a hospital environment where that longing, yes, obviously you probably want your family around you, but you can have them there. You don't necessarily, you certainly, unless you're in a personalized care home or at home, you can't have a dog in those sort of facilities. And so I want to go on to, what do you have to go through, or what does Frankie have to go through in order to visit these places? Because this is not just a quick into the car and seen on the other end. There's quite a process here.
Yes, and we're quite strict about it for a number of reasons. We know the risks involved. Working with dogs in the public space is a risk. So we are really strict about our procedures and our protocols. And repeat the question, please.
So what does Frankie have to go through in terms of being healthy and fit?
Yes. So the dogs have to, they before they start work, they get signed off by their vet to make sure that they're in good condition, that there's no underlying problems that they could be in pain or anything that could hinder their work.
And the vets should obviously know that they're therapy dogs.
Yes.
So the communication is, please, can you assess? Obviously, we assess all animals, but now knowing that, say, Frankie in particular is going to be touched,
Correct.
maybe aging a little bit.
Yes.
Can you please make sure that there is no arthritic pain?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's particularly important in these therapy dogs.
So we actually have a certificate that they need to take with them and get signed off by the vet. So they're very aware that they are therapy dogs. And then obviously all their parasite control has to be up to date because they go around licking everybody.
Got a lovely lick in the face.
And then the dogs have to be clean. So our therapy dogs do need to be bathed at least once a month. If you're visiting a hospital or anywhere else where there's vulnerable people, then at least 24 hours before that visit. They need to, before we go into any facility, they are sprayed with Carra antibacterial spray that's safe for dogs. So that gets sprayed on their fur. Paws get wiped.
I saw that. Frankie's paws were even wiped before coming in here.
Teeth get brushed. Ears have to be clean. So, yeah, there's a fair amount that the dogs do need to go through before visits. They have to be groomed, obviously, prior to the visit, so a good brush. And, yes.
And they're obviously up to date with their vaccine. So is the
Absolutely.
visit once a year like a companion animal, or are they more frequent with the vets? How frequently do you have to go for
in my case, I go at least every 3 months because Frankie is a senior dog. But a requirement of Angel Paws is once a year. So we kind of think it's responsible pet ownership anyway, because you should be taking your dog once a year for their annual checkup and at the same time get your certificate signed off. When dogs do join the program, we ask for fecal flotation, so we make sure that they are parasite free to be done. And then after that, we trust our teams that they keep up to date with their parasite control, and they're not going to put us at risk at all.
I think when you're educating on the subject, it's something that you're obviously
Absolutely.
far more mindful of.
Absolutely, and we haven't had, and I'm sure we won't ever have, but the last thing you want is a facility to come back and say, my resident now has
gastro.
Yes. Post your dog's visit, or they may have picked up something from their fur because they weren't clean enough or anything like that. So we're really, really strict about that.
But I think if anything, it's shown that the benefit of having dogs in your environment from a microbial perspective, even in terms of gut health, is only positive.
Yes.
Obviously, like you're saying, it's making sure that they're not. This my concern. Sorry to bring it up in the middle of our podcast, but with raw food diets, having raw food diets where there is the risk that they may not be showing signs of illness, but then having that lick on the face that may be a risk of zoonotic or contamination. But like you said, Frankie is smelling incredible. He is always immaculate and glossy and shiny. So whatever you're doing very, very well.
Thank you, Dr. Carra.
And he's a senior, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And so, not that I know you work with other dogs or your other little one. How long do you go on for?
Going.
Is it his decision?
Yes, it's his decision, really. So this is also why we like our teams to really understand their dogs and really be able to read them correctly, and that's why our in-training program is so important. And so we help guide the human part of the team. I've done, because of my work as a therapy dogs, I've done a little bit of studying in terms of animal behavior, so I can understand dogs and read them. So we will advise and guide the teams in terms of whether we feel like their dogs are enjoying the work still, either as seniors or even as young dogs. Sometimes dogs just don't know why they're there, and they would much rather be
playing with other dogs,
sheep, or playing with other dogs, or doing other dog things. So we do try and help and guide with that. And then Frankie, I think a lot will depend on his health, how long he's able to keep that, how long his vet feels he's still fit enough to be able to work.
Bye, Frankie.
Oh, where are you going?
Tail wag.
Oh, cat food. Frankie, that's not for you.
No, it is. Oh, that cat food, yes. So, in terms of you meet a lot of different people. What is the general response? Are people Do they want to touch? Do they, I mean, I know it's varied, but
Yes.
do you generally get a good response?
Yes.
Do you?
Always get a good response. The people, literally, their hands are, they obviously know we're coming. So people just can't wait to get their hands on the dogs and touch them. They know they're there for touching and patting, so they generally are. As we were chatting earlier, there's some staff that are a little bit afraid of the dogs, but if we have time, then we work with them a little bit, get them touching the dogs.
I mean, this has a massive impact.
Yeah.
And they ask you to come back, don't they? I mean,
Oh,
most of the
always.
time it's a bit of those, giving them an opportunity to meet
Yes.
Frankie. Sorry, I know you're the lead holder. Generally, they want to see Frankie again. They ask when you're coming back.
Definitely. So this year, we just have, there's so many frail care and dementia units in Durban. And our facilities, again, I don't think there's any we've been in touch with to say, would you like us to come? It's all, everyone's come to us and said, can you do visits? And ideally, you want to do them regularly. So we schedule visits for one visit to a facility every month. But our frail care is just because of the volume, there's just so many in Durban, and I hate saying no. We've kind of scheduled that a bit more. But every single time people are like, when can we do our next one? So our regular facilities and the facilities that started with us are very special to us. So those just get scheduled for the year. So we know that we have spaces for them. And then the others we kind of fit in. We do quite a few ad hoc where people will say, please, can you bring your dogs? And then I'll say, well, we'll do an ad hoc visit. I've got a space here, and I'll be able to get enough volunteers. And then we try and do it once a quarter or once every 6 months, whenever we can.
And this is voluntary. This
Absolutely.
is not paid. You don't get
No.
paid for this. This is you gifting your dog to
Yes.
a greater community.
Mm-hmm.
So how, in terms of costs involved, and are they donors? Are they sponsors? Can people donate? Can people try and support you?
Absolutely.
Where does that money go? It obviously doesn't pay for your time.
No. So we've been really very lucky in terms of sponsorships. A lot of our colours and leads have been sponsored. All of them have been sponsored by Milton's, and they often give us treats and things for the dogs. They've given us a few hampers to be able to raffle. Life St. Joe's has been really kind and are sponsoring shirts for all our handlers. And then the donations that people would like to give, which we get a fair amount. We use that for, at the moment, marketing material for the things that we've wanted to have, like gazebos for events and that kind of thing. And if we get enough, eventually we can start giving back to our teams to help cover those. Because as you said,
like
it's really
fuel
expensive. Fuel, vet
shampoos,
fees, yes, grooming products. We do try and secure the best price for in terms of the grooming products and things like that where we can. And then we pass that directly on. So if we get something at cost, we'll pass the cost price on to our teams. So for teams to join us, all those kind of things are big considerations. And also because it's donations and it's very ad hoc, we can't guarantee. So we can't say we will help pay for your grooming or help pay for your vet visits, because we don't know if we're going to get those donations next year. There are a group of vets that are giving us discounts. Some of the vets in Durban have agreed to percentage discounts.
So like a welfare rate in terms of...
Correct, yeah. So we recommend them. But again, that's up to the individual. Often people have a great relationship with their vet and they prefer to go there.
And their team's quite sort of spread out.
It
this
is.
is not just a a collection of people in central
Upper
Durban
highway.
or Upper
Yes,
Highway.
Exactly.
All the way from Hilton, this is this is KZN.
Yeah, so we have teams all the way from Hilton to the furthest north is Zinkwazi, that we have a team that comes through to visits to, and then a fairly big team in Durban North as well. So yeah, everybody is everywhere. So it's very hard to be able to nominate anyone in particular for them to go to.
And breed-wise, are there any particular, I mean, obviously Frankie is a temperament-wise a perfect, he heard his name, he lifted his head, a perfect breed in terms of having a great temperament and a good reputation with children. And
yes.
What are the sort of breeds that you've got in your team?
So we like to think that therapy dogs are born and not made. So we don't particularly discount any dog. We do, however, take breed into consideration. So obviously your toy breeds make the most incredible therapy dogs because they were just really bred to sit on people's laps and get cuddles. So they make great additions to our team. We more, I would probably say, mindful about your guarding breeds. We do have to take individual basis, but that inherent trait is there. So we probably watch them a lot closer and a little bit more mindful about them in terms of becoming therapy dogs. But no particular breeds.
From small to large.
From small to large, exactly.
What's your largest breed on the
We
program?
had an Irish Wolfhound.
Yeah.
He passed away, but we had an Irish Wolfhound. And then we have, I was going to say the crossbreeds are often...
Yes, sorry, we can't just talk about the breeds.
and those are often my favorite because nature selected them. There's been no human involvement there, so they've selected themselves. And yes, so another dog that we have on our team at the moment who must have some kind of Pyrenees or he's a cross. He's a big boy, and those dogs are lovely for next to beds because patients can literally reach them.
Stand.
They can stand.
And these dogs often get onto the beds or they sit on the children's laps, and so whatever interaction people are needing at the time.
Yes.
How do you gauge that? Is that a conversation had, individual circumstances?
We leave it up to them. They gauge it. So we honestly let them take the lead, and let them respond how they. And that's the amazing thing about dogs, and why therapy dog work is so amazing, is that they will read the situation on their own. We don't have to coerce them. We don't have to ask them to do tricks. We don't have to ask them to do anything. They read the situation and respond in the way that they think the person would like.
So how often do you come across situations where they're responding, saying, I'm not comfortable with this. This is not a safe situation?
It happens, absolutely. And every dog has preferences, just like humans do. So let's take Frankie as the example since he's here. Absolutely loves children. He was born into a family that had children. So, and then coming to live with us, there aren't children. So he is just delighted when we go to a visit with children and has absolutely no problem with 50 of them around him touching him and making loud noises. He's absolutely in his element. He's a little bit more... not weary, but I would say probably polite with people that are very sick and terminal, funnily enough. So he will there's other dogs in our group that read that really well and will give that person a lot of love, whereas he'll just sit by them.
Okay. And you know that is his sign to
and
say.
that's been confirmed for me, where we went into a room with a lady who looked absolutely fine, and she was sitting around with her friends, and they were all chatting, and Frankie just sat fairly far. He was just like, I'll wait here for you while you finish. And as we walked out, the social worker said to me, that's interesting, that lady has stage 4 cancer, and she doesn't have long.
Shame.
Yeah, so dogs have preferences. Some dogs don't enjoy children as much, so they they
and then you can tailor the work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we let them, again, we let our teams decide where they want to visit, and then join those visits that they and their dog enjoy.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Because if it's not enjoyable, it's not sustainable.
Exactly, and most comfortable at. Exactly.
And you both clearly enjoy what you're doing, or you see the massive benefit in it, because you're hoping to continue, and you love what you do.
Our payment or our reward as the human part of the team is watching the healing that your dogs can bring. Absolutely. So he'll often, Frankie also does love the other visits where we can go and sit in a lounge, and he can either lie on the couch, or people sit on the floor with him, and he can literally lie there and just get pats. And he'll often put his head down on their lap or give them a lick. Another little pug that we have at the one facility that I have in mind right now, we walked up the stairs into where all the therapy rooms are, and one patient was sitting, and he literally went straight up to her, sat on her lap, and just licked her face.
Loves
so
kids.
That's what he thought she needed that day.
Didn't need a good kiss.
Yes, exactly.
And if people want to, if they're inspired by this, either obviously donations, sponsors, any help or assistance is gladly or always needed. We never
Absolutely.
ever. But if people want to become part of the team, they can reach out to you. They can inquire.
100%. We have evaluations a couple of times a year, so we don't do them that often. But people are always very welcome to join us on visits and see how the dogs work. That's also to you, by the way. If you would ever like to join, that would be amazing.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
See how the dogs work. It's very hard to explain. It's
but to
awesome
follow you,
to
I mean,
witness.
a lot of your images and
Yes.
a lot of the information you're putting out there at the moment gives people an insight to the incredible work that you're doing. And I mean, you spoke before about, I mean, from reading with children to end stage situations, but wellness days, corporate events.
Yes.
I mean, those are.
Definitely.
I mean, I've never been to one, but I mean, what a wonderful! Everybody loves to have a visit.
Yes.
Everyone wants to see a dog in a corporate environment. So, what a great opportunity to.
Absolutely, and there's so much documented evidence of what dogs do for people, and certainly one of the big ones is helping with stress relief, and the decrease in cortisol levels, etc., whilst touching dogs. So that fits in really well with corporate wellness days and that type of thing. So we always are open to doing those.
That's wonderful.
And
in terms of, is there anybody you want to say thank you to? Well, we've got the opportunity in terms of, I know that there are people who are giving, you said Maltons, and are there any people who currently contribute that you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, Maltons have been absolutely phenomenal, and the fact that they had collars and leads in our branded colors was amazing, and they were so generous in just how many do you need. Here they are. Dogs treats. They really are being so generous in helping us get started and get going on this journey. So a very big thank you to them. Life Hospitals also, they're hugely supportive of us, and have, as I said, sponsored new shirts for us, which we're hoping are coming soon. But they've offered massive support too, and that's so sweet. One of the doctors there makes sure he knows when we're coming every time and gets treats in for the dogs. So just that kind of love and sharing and what people can do for us has been amazing.
The impact is greater than just the person you're providing that therapy for. It really has a knock-on impact, doesn't it?
Nurture Hospitals too, what they do is absolutely phenomenal. So they do, the one hospital that we visit in Belito, they do the staff do a collection for us.
Oh, wow.
So yes, so every month that we go there, there's an envelope for Angel Paws of what the staff have donated.
And this goes into things like your insurance policies.
Correct. Yes, so we have to obviously have insurance. That's one thing that is not negotiable. The dog's jackets, there's part of the uniform that we do sponsor for handlers, so with funds that we have available. So the dog's jackets, we do try every now and then gift handlers with grooming products or whatever we can. So, yeah.
And I see you come in with your car branded, the signage.
Yes.
That's obviously, to spread the word, you need...
Yeah.
Who manages your social media? I mean, have you got a website?
We do.
Okay.
We're really very proud of our website, and that's another donation.
So we'll put all of these links in the bottom. People
Amazing.
can access this information just to read and see what you do. And and if they're as inspired as I am, I think hopefully it's just going to keep growing, and you're going to have more support.
Keep healing.
Yeah, keep healing. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming and telling us all about Angel Paws. And thank you for Frankie's time. I know you're just the lead holder, so I've appreciated my therapy time with him. It's really phenomenal work that you're doing. And so a big thank you from someone like me for the impact that you're making.
Thank you, Dr.
Really
Carra.
special.
That makes it all, those type of comments make it so worthwhile. So
I really see the value in it. It's so extensive. We've touched on a few things, but I urge all the listeners to go out there and really read what you're doing and get some insight into the massive impact that this is having, from small children to dying people. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
As we wrap up this insightful episode, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our wonderful guests, Pam Diamond and her amazing therapy dog, Frankie. Their story reminds us of the incredible healing power of our four-legged friends. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to show your support by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to the Paws Effect podcast. Your engagement helps spread the love for pets far and wide. Until next time, this is Dr. Carra signing off from the Paws Effect podcast, wishing you and your furry companions a pawsome day. And now, before we say goodbye, a gentle reminder, don't forget to give your pets a hug from me. Welcome back to Just for Pets. You're with Dr. Carra.
Hi, Doc. It's Justin the Jack Rossi here, and boy am I itchy.
Are you on a hypoallergenic diet?
Hyper what now?
Changing to a special diet will really help. And Just for Pets have a massive range. And flea and tick medication, special shampoo.
Ooh, how quick can you get some?
Order today and we'll deliver pronto.
I feel better already.
Justforpets.co.za. Vet approved, pet adored. Gets it all to your door.
We have an exciting announcement to make. We are looking for guest speakers who are passionate about the pet industry and sponsors to support future episodes. Are you an expert in pet training, nutrition, or behavior? Maybe you're a veterinarian with insights to share, a pet store owner with unique experiences, or a pet product inventor. We want to hear from you. The Paws Effect podcast is a platform for industry professionals like you to showcase your knowledge, experiences, and stories. As a guest speaker on our podcast, you'll have the opportunity to share valuable information, engage with our audience, and have your voice heard in the pet community. Whether you want to discuss training techniques, emerging pet care trends, or the importance of mental stimulation for pets, we want to feature you and your expertise. So, if you're passionate about pets and have something to say, we invite you to join us on an upcoming episode of the Paws Effect podcast. But wait, that's not all. The Paws Effect podcast is also seeking sponsors to support our mission of educating and entertaining pet lovers worldwide. By becoming a sponsor, you'll gain exposure to our engaged audience and have your brand associated with the love and care that we have for our four-legged friends. If you own a pet-related business, offer pet products or services, or simply want to align your brand with our pet-loving community, we'd love to partner with you. As a sponsor, your brand will be featured prominently in our episodes and our social media channels. It is a great opportunity to showcase your offerings to a dedicated audience of pet enthusiasts. So whether you're an expert in the pet industry looking to share your knowledge, or a business seeking to reach a pet-loving audience, we want to hear from you. To apply as a guest or to inquire about becoming a sponsor of the Paws Effect podcast, please contact me at drcarra@pawsandeffect.co.za. Get in touch and let's discuss the various opportunities. Thank you for joining us today. We can't wait to welcome our future guest speakers and sponsors to the Paws Effect Podcast. Remember, every episode is an opportunity to celebrate our four-legged friends.